Quick question for you. Do you know exactly where your personal data is right this very second? Seriously, think about it. Chances are it's scattered across dozens, maybe even hundreds of servers around the globe. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into the foundations of cybersecurity. You can kind of think of cybersecurity as this ultimate invisible shield for our connected world. It's an entire discipline completely dedicated to protecting our networked systems and data from unauthorized use, or worse, outright harm.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with your digital identity, then look at the value of your data, protecting organizational data, the cost of a breach, who is attacking us, and finally we'll scale all the way up to the reality of cyber warfare. Let's just jump right in.
Kicking things off with Section 1, your digital identity. Exactly who are you online? It turns out there should actually be a pretty stark contrast between who you are in person and who you project yourself to be online. Think about it. Offline, you interact freely every day, right? At home, at school, at work. But your online identity? That needs some really strict boundaries. You should be using an alias or a username, keeping your deep personal details strictly to yourself, and basically just avoiding unwanted attention.
But, despite our best efforts to stay private, your digital footprint is probably massive. I mean, every piece of medical data at your doctor's office, every single tax document you file, your educational records, your financial statements, and yep, even those online photos saved by friends or total strangers, they all make up this footprint. It's sitting right there on your personal devices, hidden in store loyalty card databases, and locked up on insurance company servers. It is highly visible, and man, is it highly distributed.
Which brings us to Section 2, the value of your data. Why are you specifically a target?
The reality of this threat is honestly staggering. Digital theft is literally just as real as a pickpocket reaching right into your back pocket on the street. Criminals want your online credentials so they can get direct, immediate access to your accounts. And they're clever about it. They use these creative schemes in social engineering to completely trick you into wiring money to someone you actually think is a friend or family member. It's a direct, targeted assault on your finances. But see, it's not just about a quick smash-and-grab digital pickpocketing. The real danger here? Long-term profits. By fully hijacking your identity, these criminals can fraudulently claim your medical benefits, file fake tax returns to steal your refunds, open up brand new credit card accounts, and even get unauthorized loans in your name. The fallout from this whole shebang can haunt you for literal years.
All right, let's shift gears a bit for Section 3, protecting organizational data. We're talking about the giant vaults.
So, organizations are managing crazy amounts of data. Traditional personnel files, top-secret intellectual property, financial records, and massive, endless streams of big data coming from the Internet of Things. To protect these massive corporate vaults, cybersecurity professionals rely on this incredibly brilliant core framework. It's known as the CIA Triad. Let's break that CIA Triad down, because it's absolutely crucial. First up, confidentiality. Think of this as the ultimate VIP bouncer, ensuring only the right authorized people ever see the data. Second is integrity. This guarantees the data hasn't been maliciously messed with or altered, which the pros verify using specialized tools like hashing programs. And finally, availability. The information has to actually be there and accessible when authorized users need it. If even one of these pillars falls, the whole system just collapses.
And well, sometimes they do fail. That leads us to Section 4, the cost of a breach. What actually happens when the vault breaks?
It's really important to remember that it isn't just faceless, boring corporate spreadsheets at risk here. Take the high-tech toy maker VTech, for example. When they were breached because they failed to properly safeguard their systems, incredibly sensitive personal information was exposed. We are talking about customer names, passwords, family pictures, and, this is the scary part, even children's chat logs. Hackers could potentially use this to commit crimes using a literal child's identity, or leverage that data to take over the parents' accounts.
To put this into perspective, millions of records are stolen every single day. Let's look at the financial sector. Equifax, a massive consumer credit reporting agency, suffered a huge breach where attackers just exploited a simple vulnerability in their web application software. The attackers even set up unauthorized websites for phishing schemes. Or consider LastPass. This is a platform designed specifically for security, and attackers still managed to steal email addresses, password reminders, and authentication hashes. It just goes to show absolutely no organization is immune. No way.
Because stopping 100% of attacks is basically impossible, the consequences when a breach does happen are devastating. We're looking at completely ruined corporate reputations, digital vandalism, massive theft,
immense lost revenue, and permanently damaged intellectual property. The financial and emotional fallout is just staggering, both for the company and for the everyday consumers whose data they were supposed to be holding.
Which naturally brings us to Section 5. Who is attacking us? Let's take a look at the faces of the threat.
You know, it's interesting. Hackers aren't just one big, bad monolith. They actually fall into a few different categories based on their ethics. On one end, we have the white hats. These are the good guys. They break into systems with permission specifically to find and fix weaknesses. Sitting in the middle are the gray hats, who compromise systems without permission, walking a very, very fine ethical line. And then we have the black hats. These are the outright criminals who take advantage of any vulnerability they can find for illegal personal, financial, or even political gain.
But actually, hackers breaking in from the outside aren't the only ones we have to worry about. We have to look at internal versus external threats. External threats are what we usually picture in movies, right? Outsiders exploiting network vulnerabilities or using social engineering. However, the call often comes from inside the house. Internal threats, like employees mishandling confidential data, accidentally plugging in an infected USB drive, or just clicking on a bad email, can honestly cause way greater damage. Why? Because they already have direct, trusted access to the systems.
All right, now we are escalating to the absolute highest stakes imaginable. Section 6, the reality of cyber warfare, the global stage.
Cyber warfare is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's a conflict using cyberspace to gain a strategic advantage over adversaries or competing nations, and they do it all without ever launching a physical invasion. The purpose here is pretty chilling. It's to sabotage a nation's critical infrastructure, gain the leverage to blackmail top government personnel, and ultimately to just completely destroy the citizens' faith in their government's ability to protect them.
A prime and honestly terrifying real-world example of this is the Stuxnet malware. This wasn't just some code written to steal credit card numbers. No, it was a highly sophisticated weapon designed specifically to cause catastrophic physical damage to Iran's nuclear enrichment plant. By using advanced modular coding and stolen digital certificates, Stuxnet proved that just a few lines of malicious code can have the exact same destructive power as a conventional military strike. It's a real game changer.
So, we've scaled all the way from the literal money in your pocket up to global nation-state warfare. But let's bring it right back home to you. Every medical record, every photo, every financial transaction, your entire life is online, relying heavily on that CIA triad to stay secure. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. With threats ranging from everyday amateurs all the way to state-sponsored armies, who is guarding your data right now?